Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Spiritual Perspectives. As the question was posed earlier before we took the short break, we said that how is it possible that one would come to the realization of the spiritual realm or the angelic realm? As we divided the reality into threefold, we said you have the mulk and you have the angelic realm and then you have the jabarut, which is the realm of the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. See, as the material realm exists, as the mulk exists, which no one could deny, the same way the immaterial reality cannot be denied. Can anyone deny the imagination or the imaginary world that we have? Whatever that may be, it is something that is real and it exists. Can anyone deny dreams? It is something that is real and exists. It is not material, it is immaterial. So the existence of the immaterial realm is a reality. And one have to really accept that. Obviously, as there are different levels of the material reality, different substances, some substances fine, substances is very rigid, and through this material reality we tend to make things which will benefit us, which will allow us to grow, which will allow us to live comfortably. In the same fashion, you have the material reality, the material realm and the immaterial reality in which people dwell, people exist, and through that they open a path to the higher levels. See, as a matter of fact, the material realm, the matter, this dunya, this world, issues are resolved of this world through imagination, through intellectualization. A person is always either thinking about something, planning something. This is all he's living, although he lives in this material world, but he is actually dwelling or he's actually living in this imaginary world. And it is through imaginary world, through deduction, through calculation, through his intellect, which is immaterial, he is resolving the issues and problems of the material world. So the immaterial reality, the intellectual realm, the angelic realm, the imaginary realm is actually coming to his aid in order to solve problems in the material realm. Right? So if we reflect that on this angelic realm, there are levels and grades of it. The most lowest level of the immaterial reality is the imagination. Then a bit higher you have the dreams, and then the refinement of these dreams and imagination, which will eventually allow you the reasoning, the reflection. Why does the Quran really points us out to contemplate and to reflect? What does reflection mean? Reflection, pondering, contemplating, reflecting. Reflection doesn't mean that a person lives in do daydreaming. Reflection means that he uses imagination to come to the inward reality, to the depth of that thing which he is analyzing, looking at it, imagining it, reflecting upon it. That's what it means. So therefore, you have this mulki, you have this worldly plane, then you have this angelic realm, then you have the realm of the higher realm, which is called the realm of the asma or the jabaruti realm. That's how they tend to divide this reality. Now, if we look at the worldly plane, and we have said that it is God and the man and the universe. So this man and the universe is on this mulki plane, and then you have and now when Allah is saying that He has created you in male and female, that belongs to this material world, that a person is a male, a person is a female, and this is the form of a male, this is the form of a female. Now if this male form, it goes to a higher form in that angelic realm, it becomes that masculinity, those qualities or attributes that belongs to a masculine phenomena, and that is reflected upon this mulki plane, on this material realm, which becomes a male. All of the qualities of positive qualities or the good qualities they have its own reality which is reflected in that immaterial realm, which dwell in that immaterial realm, such as, generosity, such as chivalry, such as speaking the truth, truthfulness. So when a person becomes a truthful in this mulki, in this worldly plane, this quality shines or reflects upon him, and he becomes one with this divine quality or with this angelic quality of truthfulness, this angelic quality or the immaterial quality or attribute of generosity. He becomes one with that. So therefore this is a reality that is existing or that is encompassing the material realm. So from there it kind of reflects upon, it kind of shines or manifests upon this physical sort of entity which is considered as a male, or this physical sort of entity which is called as a female. Now see, to move further in this argument, now this masculinity, this male which have become a male in a form, he is nothing but the reflection of that very masculine phenomena that dwell in that immaterial realm. And this masculine phenomena that is dwelling in that immaterial realm, within that angelic realm, is nothing but the reflection of that very majesty, of that sovereignty of the Lord, of God, which is translated as the Jalal. And then the same applies for the female, which is in this sort of mulki, in this worldly plane. In the immaterial realm, she becomes the femininity, the feminine reality, the femininity. And then this, when it goes higher, that becomes the reflection of the beauty or the jalal of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if a man, meaning that a human being, if he reflects on his own creation in this fashion, and if he reflects his relationship with a female in that fashion been mentioned, then obviously the whole relationship changes. He will be regarding the female as the manifestation of the beauty of the Lord, and he will be regarding himself as the manifestation of the majesty of the Jalal and the qualities which are required of the Jalal. For example, justice, as the Quran says that God have sent the Prophet in order that waqimun nasa bil qist, in order that God establishes justice. Establishing justice is a masculine quality. Justice deals with the jalal of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, male is in charge to do that rather than a female. This doesn't mean that females are not equal to male. No, both of them are equal. Just as the jalal of the Lord is very much equal to the jamal of the Lord. One cannot say that the jamal is greater than the jalal of the Lord. It is all one. Allah is Rahman, Allah is Rahim, Allah is Qahhar, Allah is Adil, Allah is Latif. All of the asma and all of the names and all of the attributes of the divine is nothing but one. It is equal. So the same way, when these attributes manifest and reflect on this worldly plane, the male and female, as they are reflecting, as they are manifestating the jalal and jamal of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are equal. There is no comparison. The Western notion of equality is the sameness. They have to be same. They regard being same synonym of equality. For them, equality means same, being same. It is not the case. You cannot say that, an apple and a peach, they are two different fruits. They are fruits. In that sense, they are equal, being a fruit. But in terms of what qualities they have and how they become apple and how it becomes a peach is a two different phenomena. It's a two different thing. But if you want to call them fruits, as they are fruit, So therefore, male and female, they are not same, but they are equal. They are human beings. And they have their own responsibilities. As the male is responsible for the establishment of justice, that is why he been provided with that quality of ar-rijal qawamuna ala nisa. In Surah Nisa, there's a verse which talks about that the male have an authority. Having an authority doesn't make him greater than female, but having an authority provides him with the duty and the responsibility that he has. So having a responsibility doesn't make him any higher. The female, they have their own responsibility, and the male, they have their own responsibility. One will not be able to say that, okay, female, they have a womb and they become pregnant, so they are greater. They are much more higher than the male. One will not be able to say that. Both are equal. So therefore, it's not the question is not of the sameness, being same, which is a Western notion of equality, but the question is of being equal in their perfection. So a male which is reflecting the Jalal of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, within it reflects the very Jamal, which within in the inward nature of that male becomes the beauty of Lord, the Jamal of Lord, and same applies for the female, as she is reflecting the Jalal, and within her she reflects the Jalal as well. So this makes them, in a perfect, this makes them equal. One is outwardly reflecting the Jalal, inwardly reflecting the Jamal. The female is outwardly reflecting the Jamal and inwardly reflecting the Jalal. Now let's analyze this with some examples. Number one, the Jamal, which is considered as the beauty, one of the essential quality of this beauty is hidden. Beauty is considered to be hidden. That is why, if you may have noticed, that many of these explorers in Discovery and in National Geography, when they come up to a beautiful scene, they say that, what a beautiful scenery. Now they would say at the same time that there are many much more beautiful than this. Why? Because it's hidden, it's unseen. So beauty is a mystery. Beauty is something that is hidden, and it is requires to be hidden as well. As God says that He is behind 70,000 veils, and He will unveil Himself only to those who become mahram to Him. So God is the God who is the Jamal, God who is beautiful. He is hidden. So beauty requires hiding. So a female who practices a hijab in this world, who consciously hides herself, she is partaking in that divine manifestation by hiding herself, because Jamal is hidden, beauty is hidden. So she is putting that hijab for that purpose. He is consciously doing that, and while doing so, she will be in perfect harmony with her nature. There will be no conflict with her nature. So that is the purpose of hijab. That becomes the Sharia, that becomes the law. That is why basically he's consciously doing that, because he is reflecting Jamal, and Jamal requires hiding. You may remember that hadith when that blind man comes to the house of the Prophet and Siddiqa Kubra leaves the room. The Prophet says that he is blind, he cannot see you. But Siddiqa Kubra replies, but I can see him. So that means there is some etiquette that requires hiding of herself, right? So that's what she performed. Having said that, at the same time, you would find Siddiqa Kubra going on the street, reminding people of the wilayat of Amirul Mu'mineen, supporting Amirul Mu'mineen, delivering the sermon. That is the Jalali aspect. So a perfect man, a perfect human being, do not take me wrong when I say perfect man means a male. No, a perfect human being, a perfect man is the one who have a perfect equilibrium of the Jalali qualities of God and of the Jamali qualities of God. He is considered as a perfect man. So therefore, Siddiqa Kubra is that perfect human being where she is outwardly the Jamal of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to his perfection, where the Lord says that the Rida, that the pleasure of God, which is the Jamali quality, which is the have pleasure, have that feminine aspect, that Jamali aspect, right, is the Rida of Fatima. The pleasure of God is the pleasure of Fatima. The Ghazab, the Qahariyat, the anger of Fatima, which is the Jalal, the aspect of the Lord, is the Jalal of Allah. So the anger of Allah. The anger, the Ghazab of Fatima is the Ghazab of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So here is a perfect human being. Outwardly, Jamal, fulfilling her responsibility, consciously reflecting the Jamal, and the Jalali aspect which is within, that sort of leadership role that she played for the whole followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, where she is the founder of the school of Ahlul Bayt by clearing the difference between Haqq and Batil. It is her who have laid that foundation, which is the Jalali aspect. So now the qualities that a female tend to have outwardly speaking, they are the qualities of the Jamal of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and these qualities pertains to kindness, nurture, for example, the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they've been programmed, or they have within themselves in their nature these qualities, and they will act accordingly. The same apply for the male as well. The male, he has these qualities of Jalal and he acts accordingly, which is the establishment of justice, which is the having an authority in order to support. Now within himself he has that Jamali aspect as well, because a perfect man is the one who have the Jalal and Jamal within it. So now when we look at the Jamali aspect of a male, which is within him, is service. A good leader, a just leader, is a one who serve his ummah, one who serve his people. Service, giving service, serving the ummah is a Jamali quality, is a quality of beauty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to serve. Kindness, a leader is the most kindest among all to his people, right? So therefore that is so outwardly he reflects that Jalali aspect, inwardly he has that Jamali aspect. So therefore, if the Islamic perspective, the divine perspective, the spiritual perspective of a male and female would be this. Now this will resolve the issue of equality, male is male equal. This will resolve the issue of why a female cannot be a prophet. A female cannot be a prophet. She is not meant to be a prophet. It is as if saying that when the sun will rise, the day will not happen. No, when the sun will rise, the day must happen. The day will happen. It is against it. If we say that the sun will rise and day does not happen. If the day is there, the sun have risen. So the same way, a female, she cannot be a prophet because she is not meant to be, because she is the reflection of the Jamali aspect of the Lord. She reflects the masculinity. And the Jalali aspect, which is Aqimun Nasu bil Qist, like as we said, they've been sent in order to establish justice. That is the Jalali aspect. That is why the prophets were all male. Having said that, if you look at the inner reality of that Jamal itself, it is Jalal. That is why the 11th Imam, Imam Hassan al-Askari alayhi salam, have mentioned that, we are hujjat upon mankind, and Fatima is hujjat for us. So Fatima is the hujjat of the Imamat. She is the hujjat for the Imam. Hujjat is the proof, and the existence of of an Imam is very much necessary for the baqa of the creation. So the existence of Fatima is very much necessary for the baqa of the Imam. See how it is related? The Imam, who is the Jalali, outwardly Jalali aspect, is very much required for the creation to exist. And for the Imam, you have the Jalali aspect once again. For them to be Baqi is Fatima, which is a female. You see? So if one have this perspective in regards to the male and female, then the whole understanding of reality that is around us will deter, will change, and he will pursue in a different fashion. He will regard himself and others in a very different fashion. Then once he deals and once he understands this from this perspective, then he will have a different understanding of the Sharia, which will be our next discussion, which will be opening up. Perhaps we'll leave it for our next week, but we'll just introduce our next discussion, which is Sharia, and what is really Sharia known as. What is the difference between the Sharia and Tariqah, as we kind of highlighted earlier this morning, this evening, what is really Shariat and what is really Tariqat, and how does a Shariat is formed. What does really divine law mean? Now see, whatsoever, let me still, as your minds are still fresh, instead of looking at next week, whatsoever comes in the Sharia, let me give you an example. Whatsoever comes in the Sharia has a reality within the angelic realm, and obviously it goes to the higher, to that Jabaruti realm, as the premise that we have laid. Now whatsoever in the Sharia is beneficial for the nature and fitrat of whoever is conducting or performing it, whether that be a male or whether that be a female. There is a set of rules, set of Sharia law for a male. He performs or he acts, he makes a wuzu in a different fashion, for example, to a female. The way he performs, his ruku is the same, however it is recommended for a female to perform in a different fashion. The Jamaat, the congregation prayer, the Friday prayer, the jihad, which is incumbent upon male compared to the female, for example, during the time of the life of the Imams or during the life of the Prophets, for instance. So therefore, there are different set of law, Sharia, for male and female, and this Sharia and participation of it is beneficial for that individual, whoever is performing it. For example, a female, 2 witnesses is required. This is one of the questions which is most asked. 2 witnesses are required for a female and 1 witness required for a male. One of the Sharia question, right? So now why is it not equality there? Male you have 1 and female you have 2. Once again we said it's not the question of equality here. 2 is necessary and required for certain reason, because the purpose is a justice be established. Now today in the modern law, even in Iran, for example, the Qazi, he could pass a verdict by listening to a 1 female witness, because for a Qazi, for a judge, attaining certainty, coming to yaqeen is important, rather than he gets it from true female or 1 female. If he listens to a witness of a 1 female and there are evidence by which he could come to a conclusion and by which he could come to a certainty, he will give a verdict on that 1 female. You see what I mean? So therefore, it's not the question of that, but it's rather the question of justice. It's not 2 or 1. It's not in that fashion. It is because the way the physiology, the way females are made, and the necessary requirement of them makes it Sharia to make it too, which we'll look at in more detail in our next and future programs. The Sharia and the essence and reality of Sharia in our next program. Thanks for joining us. We hope to see you next week again. Goodbye from Spiritual Perspectives and Hidayat. Good night.